Have you ever felt like you were being watched, even when you were completely alone? Not that silly fear from horror movies, but a real cold chill that climbs up your spine for no reason at all. I have. And it didn't happen in a haunted forest or an abandoned town. It happened on a road, just a regular road right in the middle of Mato Grosso. And after that night, I was never able to sleep in peace again. Because what I saw there wasn't human. And if you think you know what fear is, I need to tell you what it really means to be hunted. They say some stories are made up just to scare people. But there are things whispered from one mouth to another, not because they're lies, but because it's too dangerous to say them out loud. I never believed in that kind of thing. I've always been a skeptic, a realist. But everything changed on that trip. I was going to visit my father in the countryside and decided to take a shortcut down a dirt road that cuts through the woods. On the GPS, it looked safe, fast, convenient. But what the map doesn't show is that there are places where logic doesn't apply. And it was exactly that kind of place I drove into, thinking it was just another ordinary route. The first few minutes were calm. Sun on the horizon, wind coming in through the window, the radio playing softly. But as the kilometers passed, the light began to fade. The power poles disappeared, and the phone signal died too. The asphalt turned to dirt. The trees began closing in around the car like the road was being swallowed by the forest. Even the sound of animals vanished. The silence there was different. It wasn't peaceful, it was heavy, suffocating, as if the world had stopped breathing or was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. And inside that silence, I started to feel something strange, something I couldn't explain. It felt like something was following me, not behind, but all around, as if the woods were watching me, testing my movements, waiting for an opening. And the more I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, the stronger the feeling grew. You know that moment when your instincts scream, but your logic tries to ignore them. That's exactly where I was. But the road was long, and turning back felt more dangerous than going forward. So I kept driving, pretending everything was fine, that I was alone, but I wasn't. I thought I was driving to reunite with my family. But deep down, I was heading straight towards something that had been waiting for me. A trap, a scheduled encounter with the unexplainable. And when you're about to cross that line, the universe seems to give you one final warning, a breath of alert. And that's what I felt when the sky suddenly darkened, when the tires began to subtly slide as if the ground itself were alive. I felt I had passed the point of no return. And from that moment on, nothing made sense anymore. But the scariest part was that everything still looked normal. No monsters, no screams, no shadows in the bushes, just the void. And that's what drives you insane. Because you know something is wrong, but there's nowhere to point. And your brain starts making up explanations, but out there, it wasn't imagination. It was real. I was followed, watched, hunted. And what hunted me that night wasn't man or beast. It was something else. Something that shouldn't exist. Something that carries the hunger of centuries and the instinct of a pure predator. It was on that road in the heart of Mato Grosso that I discovered a truth no one wants to accept. The world isn't just what we can see. There are forces walking among us, silent, starving, waiting for a lonely car to take the wrong path. I was that car. And I survived, but I didn't come back whole, because when you face something like that, part of you stays behind. And the part that returns carries a secret that eats you from the inside. If this stirred something in you, if that feeling of being watched has ever visited you, even for a single second, leave a comment. I'm here. Because sometimes what we need most is to know we're not alone in this kind of fear. And believe me, you're not.